Good afternoon, everyone. It's your boy Shad Talks Graps, and we are back for another installment of the Wrestling Republic daily broadcast. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. We are on the road to Bad Blood, and we're here to review Monday Night Raw, the last 3-hour episode on the USA Network. Will there be 3 hours on Netflix? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But for the foreseeable future, till we get to the end of the year, we will be having 2-hour Monday Night Raws. It's been a little bit of a discourse. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. As a guy who has a pregnant wife, I like it because I get to get some more sleep because I have to wake up pretty early every day. But that's neither here or there because I think the gentleman who I'm going to pass it off got a little one himself, and I think he's going to appreciate shorter Monday Night Raws too. Chaos, how you doing, boss?
What's good? What's good, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, we are here for a jam-packed episode. We are going pretty much 100 miles an hour into Bad Blood, which I'm very, very excited for. Yeah, obviously you just touched on about Monday nights going 2 hours. I'm actually here for it because there was a couple things that happened on Monday, or last night, should I say, that it can be justified. There was quite a bit of throwaway things like there in that show, but we're going to obviously dive into that. Quick little announcement as well. Tomorrow, a new episode of Take It to the Table is dropping tomorrow night at 5 p.m. UK time, and then your respective time zones. Myself, Drizzy, and Anthony will be on that episode, and obviously we're going to be talking about which wrestlers would benefit from licensed music, as well as a quick game of Guess the Pay-Per-View, WWE Pay-Per-View as well. So be sure to check that out just before the Daily Show. But yeah, other than that, let's get straight to it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I'm excited for that. Y'all make sure that you go ahead and check that out. Chaos got some fire Take It to the Table episodes, even from last week. But the one tomorrow, I'm excited to see it. Shout outs to the bro Anthony. Shout outs to the bro Drizzy too. But last but not least, we got my guy, Mr. I got money in the bank. Shorty, what you drank? Jordy in the bank. What's going on, dog?
It's the ironic thing, mate, is that I have very little money in the bank, so I just thought I'd call myself Jordy in the bank. But no, yeah, I'm good, man. It was a great Raw. There was a lot of stuff that the last Monster Standing match certainly didn't disappoint. Couple of surprise returns. Even had a heel turn in there. Do you know what I mean? So, although it was a go-home show, there was a lot to talk about, and I can't think of anyone else I'd rather unpack it all with, lads. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Oh, how sweet. And by the way, just to spoil what Chaos was talking about, we didn't need to see Awesome Truth break up, and we didn't need to see AOP on our television screens yesterday. That's what he meant. That was filler. He's a very polite guy. He keeps it politically correct. Me, on the other hand,
no holds barred. No holds barred with you, Shad.
Yeah, but let's get to the first topic because we want to talk about what started the show last night, and that was the celebration for our new Intercontinental Champion, Jey Uso. Coming out with a electric entrance. I believe that was his son with him. Showing off the new Intercontinental title, a nice little mix of the last one and the previous one and whatnot. And I like it. It got the nice blue to it as well. And he goes ahead, celebrating, cutting a nice promo. And then we get Bron Breakker. And my mind initially was like, you know what? Maybe we are going to get them continuing the feud. But Bron Breakker going more of a babyface direction, giving him his props, telling him that he was a formidable opponent. And it made me think, okay, maybe he's not going for the IC title. Not dealing with the start of the show, but later on we did have Gunther and him kind of have a backstage interaction, and now it got me thinking, are we getting Bron Breakker versus Gunther next? So I'm gonna open the panel to you guys. I want y'all to first tell me how y'all feel about the opening segment, the direction between two gentlemen. But what do y'all think is next in the direction for Bron Breakker and Jey Uso? Chaos, I'm gonna start with you first, bro.
No worries. Yeah, sorry about the quality. Sorry about the quality as of my camera. I'm just switched into the crappy MacBook version of it, but until I get that sorted. But yeah, awesome opening segment. Obviously with Jay and his son Jace. And yeah, like he's over like Rover, man. It's absolutely great to see. And even though he felt like he kind of stumbled his way, he got very emotional to the point where I thought, wow, did he forget some of his lines? Because there was a lot of stalling in his opening promo, and then he felt like he was kind of freestyling it until Braun came out. And yeah, it was. Hey, Braun got humbled last week, and I think that's the whole part, the whole point of his story arc or his character arc is that he really thinks that he's the bee's knees until he gets humbled. We saw that with Sami Zayn. We've seen it obviously during certain points with his NXT run, and obviously it's a different ballpark when you're on the main roster. So, and yeah, he got humbled, and it felt like almost like a somewhat face turn so quick, which I'm not sure if that's the best part, the best thing to do right now, considering we just seen a brief run of him as a heel. But maybe the powers that be may have thought that he's maybe not connecting well with the fans with being a heel, so maybe they're trying to do this face run because, yeah, like you said, he's already eyeing up the World Heavyweight Championship, which really he doesn't really have the right to, because he didn't really have a successful run as an IC champ. So I don't know why they're really plowing through to do that. I would love to see it, but it's not like the Gunther situation where Gunther held the title for over 600 plus days, and then he's more than worthy of getting a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship via King of the Ring and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I hope it's not a face turn or something, because I feel like it's too soon. I was enjoying the heel run, to be honest. But regarding Jey Uso, boy, I mean, I think next week we're getting Xavier Woods. That should be fun. But obviously, I feel like there's obviously a story within that's being told that doesn't really involve Jey Uso. So I think that's gonna be like a 1 week and done. Who I feel like could probably be a good challenger. My pick would have been Ilya Dragunov, but we all know that he's out of commission right now, unfortunately. It's pretty much open game. I mean, like the best person maybe would be like someone like Bronson Reed. He's a worthy challenger. He's a big powerhouse. He's one of the he's getting a huge push right now, and he's one of the upper mid card heels, so to speak, on the Raw roster. So I feel like if anyone that is very imposing, that's ready right now, that could be a possible threat to his championship, I would say Bronson Reed, especially with the momentum that he has right now. So that would be my pick. But yeah, so far so good with the title. I love the title as well. It feels like it's definitely harking back to the old IC Title Championship belts. I'm liking the blue. I hope that's not just for Jay. I want that to be the new one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Nah, and I definitely agree with you on that. Bron Breakker is interesting because is it more so because he is kind of getting over and the fans are, you know, doing the whole woo woo woo, like
Barking,
the
yeah.
barking and stuff like that. I'm not entirely sure. I thought he was good as a heel. I thought
Yeah.
that's kind of what really got him to be a factor onto the main roster. But you talk about him and Gunther. I mean, the matches they had in NXT were really good. And it's a interesting way to go because I don't. Those are like kind of the two guys that I see them wanting to push heavy on Raw's main event scene. And I think Bronson Reed would be a good one for the IC picture as well. Let's get a
Yeah.
couple comments in, and then I definitely want to hear what you got to say about it, Jordy.
Mhm.
Shout outs to the dog, Bobby Batito, saying congrats to Jey Uso on being the IC champion. We got DC Warlord saying yeet, yeet, yeet. 3 yeets. WWE is probably going to trademark the 3 yeets like they did the yes,
Oh
yes,
my
yes.
gosh, what is going on with that pettiness?
Pettiness, man. We had a whole
Mm.
argument about it this morning in a group chat. So, number one, Superfly saying, not gonna lie, I legit thought Braun was gonna spear Jey Uso for a moment. Interested to see Braun turning face and interacting with Gunther, but doesn't that confirm Sammy isn't winning the title?
100%.
Yeah, and I think that's.
I never thought that Sammy was even going to be in the running. Like, of course he's not going to win it. Like, there's no way. Like, this is one way for Gunther to redeem himself after WrestleMania. It only makes sense. And then Punk is going to take out Survivor Series. Done.
Yeah.
That's the next champion. I don't care what anyone says. I'll put my house on it. Punk is the next champion.
I mean, I'm not mad at that. I mean, I know a lot of people feel some type of way towards Punk. I'm definitely a CM Punk fan myself, so I wouldn't mind that. And I think that'd be a good person to get the title off, like Braun getting the title off of too. Like you kind of, embark yourself as a made man just because how big of a star he is. So, CM Punk draws, man. People want to complain about it, but I'm gonna pass it to you though, Jordy, on this. I asked you the same question I asked Chaos in regards to just overall thoughts on the segment, and then what do you think is next for the two gentlemen that were in that segment as well?
Yeah, I was shocked that we didn't see a spear or something. I thought it was textbook. I thought we were gonna see congratulations, turned his back, spear. We're gonna have a rematch. So yeah, I was shocked, but it does very much look like they're leaning towards Bron to be more of a face character, like you said, whether it's because the crowd are barking with him, whether it could be a case of, like we said about Ilya, whether maybe Bron and Ilya were set for a kind of non-title feud, not cut and stick what Andrade and Melo have done, but something in that where they can put on a good series of matches and literally just showcase their talent over a solid series of matches. Do you know what I mean? So it could be now, or we don't know where we're going. Give Bron. Bron would be a good kind of quick feud for Gunther, I think, but I worry for where we're going. He seems to have gone from this kind of unbeatable, rolling down anybody in his way kind of talent to, I don't know, I just can't see him beating Gunther. Obviously, he got beat by Jey, so confusing booking to say the least. I disagree though, guys. You know what I do? I want Gunther to lose this title quick. I want Sammy to beat him. I would love for Sammy to be the thorn in Gunther's side throughout his whole career, to be that one person that's like, I just can't beat him for some reason. I don't know what it is. I just can't seem to beat him. And eventually he will, of course, but I think that WWE have done this thing consistently recently of making me think I know how they're going to book it and then turning it on its head last minute and shocking me. They did it with Jey. They did it with the main event last night. Obviously, we'll talk about it more later on. So, yeah, it's very confusing. But in terms of the IC title, who's the ideal contender, I feel like it maybe will be someone from the Judgment Day. I don't know why, just because of the whole Jey, Rhea, Terra Twins thing. I said last week it would be interesting if it was Damian and put Jey in that kind of position, because obviously, well, I guess it would be Rhea you're putting in that awkward position, not Jey. But it's very much up in the air. And I'm excited to see where they go with it. I think this is really going to be, we're going to see things start to develop next week. This week was very much a give Jey his moment, I think, given the adulation, because it has been a long time coming. And then from next week onwards, we're going to start. We'll probably do a tournament, you know what I mean? They tend to like doing them things. So I'm all up for that. Chad Gable's a good shout. Bobby Petito, by the way, as well. Chad Gable's a very, very good shout. Again, my only thing with Gable is I don't want him to lose, and I don't want Jey to lose the title so quick. I think Gable would be the perfect man to take it off Jey because of the thing he had with Gunther when he was going for it, but I just don't know if we're ready to pull the trigger just yet on that.
Yeah, and you know me, man. I'm a big time Sami Zayn fan. He's probably my favorite wrestler
Mm.
in wrestling at the moment, but I just don't think they're gonna give him the moment. I just
And
don't.
that's what
But
I'm saying. But my argument is that are they willing to actually change a major title like that on free TV? I mean, the only big thing about it next week is that it's going down 2 hours. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they would kind of save that for a more bigger situation. I mean, it's
I
it's
thought the same with Jey though. I did honestly. Like I didn't think they were
No, that
gonna
wasn't
have
a
the
surprise.
IC
At the end of
title.
the day, that's a mid card. You can
Yeah,
that can
no, yeah,
start
it
moving
is.
some
It
stuff.
is.
yes,
It
it
is.
will. And
Mm.
I actually think there's a title that changes next week, and I think it's the women's title. I think we're gonna have Io and Kyrie
Hmm.
potentially beat Bianca and Jade.
Oh yeah.
If they were to make a change in the titles, but don't see Gunther losing.
I
And
don't see Punk being the next champ. By the way, just to throw that in, I
what?
think he's got. I think he. Well, listen, I think he's going to look like it, but I think.
Elephant in
I
the
think
room.
that. I think that's the point that Seth Rollins is going
So
to show
so
back up.
so DC Warlord said, "Are we going to talk about the elephant in the room?" And apparently, it's the guy that was behind Sammy when
That was a
Kathy
guy.
Kelly.
Mm.
I believe a lot of people were saying it was like Uncle Howdy, so possibly the Wyatts are going for Sammy. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to it so much,
I've
but
I
seen
said
the.
it.
I've seen this the
Yeah.
image, but I've not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I watched it live and like live time, and I was like, I said in the GC, and that was just an awkward NPC that just ain't functioning in GTA. That's why it was just there, and then it just awkwardly walked away. I
you
don't think
thought
that
it
was any
was Seth.
because I do love I do love how WWE have like stuff happening in the background, but it's sometimes more often than not it's very obvious, like what we saw Karrion Cross when we saw the New Day, but yeah, this one was a bit too on the like yeah, it was a bit too
Mm-hmm.
obscure. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But let's get to the next topic that we have on hand, and this it has to do with Jey Uso's opponent next week. Xavier Woods. He had a match with Rey Mysterio, and he he did some different. He did some dastardly within that finish. He, whether it's intentionally or unintentionally, took his mask and got the classic roll up victory over him and building a big momentum backstage. We see him and Kofi, and Kofi's like, "Yo, did you mean to do that? Like, why'd you do that to Ray?" And Woods was kind of like, "Yo, what the heck, man? Like, I just won. Why is that the first thing that's coming out your mind?" Um, Woods, Kingston had a match as well, going against the Chad Gable. My mind is lost for a second. And Woods kind of unintentionally was trying to help, intentionally trying to help him cheat in a sense, but it kind of goes against Kofi and Kofi loses. And we're continuing to get a bit of the seeds planted of what is going to happen. Are we going to get a breakup of the New Day? I liked what happened yesterday. I liked the Xavier Woods win. Also, let's not forget this was supposed to be Kofi versus Jey Uso, but Kofi saying Woods deserves it more, giving him that match. So we will have that next week. But I'll ask you, Chaos, what are your thoughts in regards to the progression of what we saw last night between Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston?
Yeah, this was I'm loving the progression of it. I love that it definitely feels like it's one of the more forefront uh feuds that are going on or like situations that's going on with regarding the factions. It definitely doesn't feel like the crowd is not really interested in it. Unlike another faction, which we might dabble in later on. But yeah, no, it's the match itself with regarding Xavier Woods and Rey Mysterio is one that I was definitely looking forward to and see what they could get away with there. The accidental camera accidental mask removal was nice. Kind of reminded me of when it was Jericho against Mysterio when they had their feud, which was awesome. And he kept on apologizing and stuff. But yeah, we know what you're doing, bro. You're coming out in old gray, and you're all like, you're on like you're on the tip of the breaking point of like just doing some madness. But obviously he apologized, and obviously he went out for Kofi Kingston and Shad Gable. Great match, by the way. I think that I enjoyed that one more than Xavier Woods and Rey Mysterio. And then obviously, very interesting, innovative finish. I mean, it was a bit of like maybe some communication errors at some point, but yeah, very interesting finish. He tried to hit the Trouble in Paradise, and it's a situation where it definitely could have been a mistake or intentional. That's what I love about it. It wasn't like your typical MacGuffin finishes. That you could easily tell he did it unintentional or not. But yeah, and then obviously you saw them backstage, obviously bickering behind when Gunther was having an interview. And yeah, I think it's definitely going to happen. I'm just glad that they're actually giving it the respect for it to not be like some overnight thing of like an instant turn. They're really brewing it and then making it happen, because these are one of the greatest factions of all time. So yeah, it's gonna be a sad day when it does happen. But yeah, I think that the time for it is now. And obviously, where does that leave Big E is, or if or when he comes back, it's gonna be very interesting. Unless this is all for this great return for Big E, who knows? But yeah, I'm here for it. I think that feud is gonna be great. And yeah, the time is now for sure. Shout out to John Cena. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
I like it. The Big E part of it is interesting because if oh boy didn't get released for whatever he did, I feel like that could have been a good segue for it, just because they both two big dudes. But obviously he's no longer in the company. But yeah, I'm on the record as saying initially I feel like this is beneficial for Xavier Woods, just because Woods has always just kind of been the third fiddle in regards to just everything with the faction, and that's always been like a premier tag team guy, and not being able to, besides the King of the Ring stuff, he never really got anything fulfilling as a single star. And this is a guy who was doing a lot of great single stuff when he used to be in TNA back in the day too.
100%. Consequences Creed. Badass.
Yeah, man. So this guy is no short of anything of spectacular as a wrestler. We do have a couple comments in regards to here. DC Warlord saying 2 heel turns in 2 weeks, and I pray for that and hope it will happen. The Miz, that was not a real heel turn. That was just. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, everyone's begging for heel turns when just the other week when people complaining, there need to be more baby faces on Raw. Like,
it's true. That was
make your mind up. You was complaining there was
clip.
no baby faces. Now everyone's begging for heel turns, which are these are warranted. I know you don't want to count what happened with the Miz. I understand that, but people are fickle. That's
the Miz is a baby face at that point to me, because R-Truth literally be doing anything. I'd be fed up with that too. Like, bro, you always get me in these situations. What are you doing? Like, you just got back and you about to have me wrestle against two dudes that's like 480 pounds.
AOP, yeah.
It would have been funny if actual AOP, the dudes who sing Annie Up would have came out, man.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Billy Days and them. We got number one's also saying, could Kofi accidentally distract Xavier next week by either giving him advice that Xavier doesn't want, or play Xavier's trombone to try to hype Woods up, or just distracts him? Not the trombone.
No, not the trombone. That's weird. Yeah. Kofi never touches the trombone. But then again, that might be the tipping point for Xavier. Like, why are you touching my trombone for? Crack.
I think next week will be the tipping point. I think Kofi will somehow cost him that title match, and then that'll be it. He'll just go from there. I did notice, a little thing, and obviously the color of Xavier's gear has gone darker, which makes you think heel. He feels. If you look, I'm sure he's got a wolf on the back of it.
He does.
Which just makes me think of that whole like lone wolf situation. You know what I mean? So
Power Rangers, like similar to Power Rangers.
Yeah.
I like it. And what else do I like? I like our sponsors, man. And we got to give a shout outs to the good people at Next Level. If you go to the link below, nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic, You will find the one-stop shop for all content that is Wrestling Republic across all platforms. That's Twitch, that's TikTok, that's Instagram, that's YouTube. That is also our website where you can find everything Wrestling Republic, from our news articles, our reviews, our opinion articles, and our broadcasting as well. What else is user friendly with them? They have an app. You could download it on the Google Play Store, the App Store on your iPhone, and you'll be able to download it and utilize it the same way. Follow the channel, and they also follow other wrestling content creators. It's super user friendly. I highly advise all of y'all to get it, support them, and keep supporting us. On to the next topic. We got to talk about a big money face off for a big money match that we have at Bad Blood. And the Hell in the Cell dropped. And the first thing I noticed, it was the good old steel, silver, gray cell. We don't got that red cell no more. Right?
No red.
No more red cell, man. And Drew and Punk delivering lines upon lines. This has been a serious, heated rivalry between both of these gentlemen. CM Punk telling him, you ain't got to pray to the devil. You ain't got to pray to God. You going to pray to CM Punk. Drew
Don DeMarco, Marco.
Such a cold line. Such a cold line. Punk really is like one of the greatest ever on the mic. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not a CM Punk apologist, I swear, but like y'all gotta like just realize that man is surgical with the words, bro. He's really, really one of them ones. But this is really good, man. I'm so excited for this match at Bad Blood, it being Hell in the Cell. And man, this has been one of the hot feuds in professional wrestling this year. This is arguably maybe the hottest feud in WWE this calendar year, outside of, the Cody and the Bloodline stuff, maybe the whole Judgment Day stuff. But I'm going to ask you, Jordy, what are your thoughts on everything that happened last night between these two guys? And are you a little bit more excited for Saturday?
Yeah, I am, but no, it's not that I wasn't anyway. But yeah, exactly what you said, bro. The cell looked like the old cell again, so that's fantastic. At this point, it's very much the little things in this feud, because it's hard when you've had a feud that's been so fired up for so long at this point, to kind of keep it hot, and that's why it is noticing these little things. It's the words that they use, and I completely agree. Punk is one of the best, but so is Drew as well. It's not just the words; it's how they deliver them. They deliver them with a certain kind of gusto and a certain kind of like they sound angry. It really sells. It's believable. And the thing is with these two, as soon as Drew starts talking about like anything in the past with CM Punk, because of past rumors of how Punk once was or whatever, whether you know it to be true or whether you think it's none of us actually know it could be true. We don't know the relationship that these two have had behind closed doors. The only people that really know that are the people that have seen it and the two themselves. So it's that classic thing of hitting that sweet spot of blurring the lines between what's real and what's not. And I think kind of throughout this whole feud, they've done a spectacular job of that, even when it was just Drew being a little Twitter warrior and just being an absolute troll and playing Punk's music at all the arenas, and you know what I mean. So I don't know if I could be more excited, but I certainly am excited. I don't know how it ends. I certainly think that it's looking that Punk's gonna go over. Is AJ gonna be involved finally, eventually? Because look, her name's been thrown around an awful lot in this feud. It would shock me a little bit if she never showed up at any point to do something. One thing I did notice as well, I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is just a little thing, is when they were lowering the cage, I was like, why is there holes in the cage? But then I was like, oh right, okay, so is somebody gonna be some people going to be scaling the cage then? It looks like there was literal like hand and foot holes.
But you've never seen that before,
to climb
Jordy.
up. Honestly, it's been that long since I remember seeing a cage lowered like that and seeing the details. That was like, because obviously back in the day, it was just like, mate, fit your foot and your hands where they'll fit and just climb up it. But now, obviously, they give him that hand. So I'd like to see. I don't know. It scares me at this point because I'm an adult now and I'm not a kid. Where anytime anybody goes up to the top of that cell, it does scare me. It worries me. But I just want these two to really throw the kind of, not throw the PG era out the window, but just give maybe people who weren't around at that time and have never seen a taste of what the Attitude Era Hell in a Cell matches were like, to just give us a little bit of it. Obviously, it has to be watered down slightly. I completely understand that. But these two can sell it. They don't need to do a spot off the top of the cage. So, yeah, very, very excited for this match.
Nah, and I definitely agree with you. You gonna say Chaos?
No, I was just gonna say like a huge shout out to their attire, like flipping CM Punk looking like he just came from an all white wedding party, and then Drew McIntyre looking like John Wick attending
like Mania
funeral.
25, wasn't
it?
Yeah, Mania was beautiful. That was not by accident. They knew what they were doing.
It's the little details at this point. They're so good at it. Them two, I feel like they'll have a conversation, and they probably don't even have a conversation. They probably just go, "You're wearing all black, right?" And he's just like, "Oh yeah, obviously." He's like, "Cool, yeah, I've got my white gear with me." So like I feel like they're that in sync with each other at this point, and it shows out of the ring in promos, and it shows in the ring when they get together as well. It's just
for sure. We got a comment. If AJ were to appear, what they should do is cut the lights just as Drew is about to win. AJ Lee appears, kicks Drew in the nuts, and CM Punk puts Drew through the table to get a win.
I'm getting confused. I keep thinking like AJ Styles. I swear.
I thought they meant AJ Styles for a second, but then I was like, it's my point. I said AJ Lee. They're agreeing with me. Yeah.
They're agreeing with what you're saying about AJ Lee. And that'd be bananas.
I think it would be a kick in the nuts. I think it would be a kick in the nuts if she does show up. And I think it's warranted as well. I think it's absolutely 100%. Warranted.
For sure. 100%. All right. Let's get to the last topic. And this is what is tied to the title. It was last night's main event. It's October. They did a match. They did a monster match. It was the matchup of two monsters, Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman. And these guys have had quite an entertaining feud, man. Anywhere, anytime. They've been going at it. They've been breaking cars. They've been breaking barricades. They've been breaking backstage stuff. And last night, they broke a ring. Yes, the ring broke. I think we were all waiting for it. I think that's why I did go last. So, it was kind of expected to see, but the fans loved it. Bronson Reed, man, the dude is so talented, yo. For a guy his size, the ability of how good he is as an in-ring competitor, it's great. I think they have just absolutely salvaged and saved and created a, like we were saying, upper mid-card guy with him. Someone who I thought maybe would have been lost in the shuffle, but great match because it was a great finish. Let's not forget who he took off the shelf. It was Seth freaking Rollins. Mm-hmm. He comes back, stomps him on the steel steps. Braun Strowman gets the win, and it also helps us continue a feud that I'm excited for. I ask you guys, what are your overall thoughts on, as we put the cherry on top to this feud between these guys, thoughts on the match, and then, excitement level for him and Seth? I'll kick it off to you first, Chaos.
Yeah, I mean the main event was worthy of its place. I've been loving their interactions throughout the past few weeks. They just keep on building it and building it and building it, and it did not disappoint. Very fun. However, there were a couple points where they definitely felt a bit like the match was a bit too fast for them, if that makes sense. Like it was just so fast paced in certain points, to the point where like they were gassed. I hope Braun Strowman is not injured, because there was a point where he couldn't really get on his something wrong with his knee. It looked like he tweaked it. And he obviously kind of fought through it. And there was a couple points where you could see they were clearly communicating something because there was a lot of stalling, especially when they like barreled through the barricade. I was just like, was those plants or was those real fans? It was a real mix. You couldn't really tell, but awesome spot. And it's obviously it's all revolved. Oh no, it was Braun Strowman that won in it. But yeah, that the main point I want to really talk about is the main spot, which was at the end where the ring collapsed. Yeah, that didn't really hit as good as it used to. I don't know what it was. It just felt this time it felt very planned. And I think it's probably because I've seen it so many times, and they had a little tease of it last week, and then they did the whole thing. It was going to happen this one, but it felt like the timing was off. The impact with the crowd wasn't really as hot as when I first saw it back when it was Braun, Big Show and Brock Lesnar, or even Big Show and Mark Henry. Those were like the best ones. But I think because they've done it so much and it's run in the mill, I kind of wish they could happen maybe in a cage match or something where like not just the ring but the whole cage collapses on them and something crazy. Maybe put some explosions in. I don't know, just something. Do better than what AEW did. But yeah, it was besides that, it was a fun match and obviously a great return from Seth Rollins. Was not expecting him to be there. I thought he was just going to be doing this promo stuff, being at baseball events and doing Make-A-Wish events. But yeah, it was fun. Very, very good. Now, obviously, we move on to him, Seth and Bronson Reed. Great feud to build more momentum for him and make him be not lost in the shuffle and be a solid upper mid card, maybe a main eventer down the line. But yeah, this is a good pathway for him. So yeah, happy for Braun, happy for Braun. It was fun. And can't wait to see Seth Rollins back in the ring. So yeah, and I'm glad it looks like he's ditching that whole crazy zany outfits now. He's back to just normal stuff now. So I'm happy for that. So yeah,
he's a little bit more tame. Fun fact: I met the stylist for him and Becky Lynch at Becky Lynch's autograph thing. Yeah, I met the dude. He was sitting in the same couple seats away from me on that side of the interview panel and whatnot. I didn't talk to him, but like she's like my stylist, and he like put his hand up and whatnot. So they definitely got someone shopping for both of them.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I like your point in regards to that though. In regards to the ring, because I feel like it didn't live up to expectations for me too. I thought it could have been a more. I mean, maybe there's only so many ways you could do stuff to break a ring, right? But I feel like it kind of just was like, okay, it happened. It is.
Yeah, it just felt flat, and the camera barely caught it. I was watching it back, and it just about caught it on the hard cam, and it was just like, it is just like there was like boom, and then it caved in. It was just really.
It didn't even look like a collapse for me either. It looks like it looked like the turnbuckles exploded out, but the ring didn't really like. We've seen it where it's ended up like
that
slanted,
like that. Yeah.
And it didn't get that. And I think now it's more to what you've said, Chaos, with us seeing stuff like that SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar when he came and he lifted the ring up with a forklift.
Yeah,
I think just having the turnbuckles explode isn't enough at this point. I think you're absolutely right. With two people of that size and stature, I wanted to almost see it pancake. Or what's wrong with someone going through the ring anymore? Why does nobody do that anymore? Like, superplex and have them actually go through the mat, like, because that would have caught everyone off guard, I think. But I guess, I mean. It still would have worked.
That would have been a hell of an ending of a match.
Yeah, crawling out, and then Seth stomps him, and then Braun crawls out. So, like, it could have worked for sure. I just don't know. I'm glad you guys said it, because I didn't want to be a bit of a party pooper and say that, like, the finish was just a bit of a, could have been better.
What are your... I will pass it to you also. What are your other thoughts in regards to just the feud and the match, other than, like, the ring spot, too?
Great. I really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it every match up until this point. I did enjoy the match. I just think because it was such a colossal the way they demonstrated it, man, they made them into Godzilla on a promo, for Christ's sake. Like they literally, they got them to that point where I was expecting, like Chaos said, almost they put explosives on the car. Like, why not just rig up a couple of, like, I don't know, a couple of pyrotechnics or something? I just wanted a little bit more, but that's, I think, what did shock me, because I was convinced, and this was more back to what I said before when I mentioned it, that thing of WWE kind of really making me think that we're going this way with it and then turning it on its head, because I was convinced that Bronson was going to come out of this feud as the dominant force, having beat Braun Strowman, and then go on to a title picture. And Braun was potentially going to fall into a feud with like Uncle Howdy in the Wyatt Six. But now after that, I don't think that's not going to happen anymore. Seth and Bronson are going to have a thing. I'm not so sure about the gear, you know, lads. I'm not sure yet. I think if Seth was going to come out wearing loads of crazy colours, it wouldn't have been the shock that it was. I think he tried to downplay it for the sake of the moment. But what I will say is, I think out of this feud, Bronson beats Seth, and Seth heel turns, because we've not seen a heel Seth for a while. And I think this is going back to what we were on about before Chaos. I think Punk will be in prime position to win the title. And I think a heel Seth will cost him it. And then I think we'll start to see their feud hopefully be able to stretch out until WrestleMania. And then maybe he'll win the title. I'm not against Punk winning the title. I think he'll definitely pick it up again sooner rather than later. I just think that it's going to be Survivor Series, right? That's a year to the day that Punk, well, not to the day, but a year to the event that Punk returned. Remember seeing Seth's response when Punk returned, and I just would love for Seth to cost Punk the title and Seth to be stood at the top of the ramp smiling the way Punk was, and Punk to be in the ring with everyone holding him back. And I just think it's a nice bit of long-term storytelling that they could intertwine that and have a kind of mirror image a year later, and then start building it. I don't know where they go from there, but it's I think that's something I definitely want to see. And I think Punk is weirdly going to be the babyface in the situation, which I wouldn't have guessed. But there we go. Here we are.
He's over, man. I mean, but the thing is this, though. I think the stigma of a baby facing a heel in WWE more so, and maybe even AEW in a sense too, like just in pro wrestling, it's not as like cut and dry as it used to be, right?
No,
And
especially not when it's people you know. We know Seth and Punk. It doesn't matter who's face and who's heel. We know that them two don't like each other. It's almost irrelevant who's face and who's heel in that situation, isn't it?
yeah. And one last thing, I don't know if y'all, obviously you guys are now just getting into NFL football, but Seth was at the Baltimore Ravens game. It was a funny interaction, right? Baltimore Ravens cornerback Marlon Humphrey, talking to WNBA superstar Angel Reese, lovely young lady, saying, "You're the reason I got into women's basketball or whatnot." And you look at Seth just looking at it like, boy, stop capping, bro. You really just trying to.
There's no correlation. Ow!
You just try to mag, buddy. It's all good. We hey man, play on, player. That's what in the words of Blackstreet. But that's all the time we have for today's show. Much love to all of y'all in the comments who've been watching on YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and X. Salute to the bros for another good Tuesday. And we'll be back next week, same time. But we'll be back with the daily broadcast, same time tomorrow. And Ben Allison, I heard, might be back tomorrow. So,
oh dear, it's all going down the pits. All right, everyone,
yeah.
thanks very, very much for that.
Everyone look busy.
All right, man. That's all the time. In the words of our Intercontinental Champion, Jey Uso, deuces, ooses.
Yeah.